example, change the 7 bits, and you know that if you change the 7 bits, this A converted to 8. And finally, the link local address is FE18, okay, double colon, and then A8BB, then colon CCFF, and then FE, for example, 002000. This is the link local address of the, for example, ETH00 of router 2. Let's to check it. Conft interface ETH00 IPv6 enable and then no shutdown. Okay. After some second, the IPv6 address is created here. Show IPv6 interface brief. Look at here. This is the IPv6 address that is chosen automatically in the router 2. Let me to check or verify this IPv6 address with the IPv6 address that we calculated. Look at here. FE80, FE80. A8BB, A8BB, CCF, FCCF, FE00, FE00, 2000. That's it. So easy. You learned now. Now it's your turn. You should review the topics, okay, again. And you should, for example, calculate the link local address and then checking with the, for example, real scenario. And after that, if you can calculate it correctly, that's okay. But if you have some mistake, you should review and then find the problem, and after that reviewing and then calculating, finally learning. Look at here. Now in R1 and R2 we have an IP address, and you see that I didn't configure any IPv6 address. I only configured IPv6 enable. That's it. So easy. Okay, so easy. And I'm not worried about maybe this IP address can be conflict, maybe this IP address are same. I am not worried about that. Okay, only I configured IPv6 enable, IPv6 enable. Now I want to check the connectivity, but before, let me to enable IPv6 between router 2 and router 3 also. Here in router 2, conft interface ETH01 IPv6 enable, no shutdown. Very good. Let's go to R3. In R3, and conft hostname R3. Then interface, okay, ETH00 IPv6 enable. Okay, very good. Now I want to show you here IPv6 enable. Okay, this is the command I configured in many interfaces. For example, in R1, okay, I configured first here in R1's interface, then in R2. This is interface specific command. And after that, in the ETH01 of the R2 and also ETH00 of R3. Okay, I didn't enable the IP6 enable on the serial of router 2 and serial of router 4. Okay, now for now, let me to check the R2's. For example, show IPv6 interface brief. Show IPv6 interface brief in R2. Look at here. In R2, we have two link local IP addresses, FE18, and then, for example, one for ETH00 and another for ETH01. And you can see these two IPv6 link local address aren't same. Why? Because you know that inside of these two IPv6 link local address, we used the MAC address. And because of that, because MAC is unique, these two IPv6 addresses are unique. Okay, so easy. Now, I want to show you one interesting things. You know that when you have an IP address unique in R2 and also R1, and both of that IP address are in the same range, you can use the ping command to check the connectivity. I want to check the connectivity. Ping the link local address of the R1. Let me to copy the link local address of the R1. This is the link local address of the R1. And in R2, I'm using this command ping, then copying the IP link local of R1. This is the link local of R1. Okay, ping FE18 double colon A8BB CCFF FE001000. That's it. Let me to check the connectivity. Enter. You can see we didn't receive, for example, a core reply or some error. We received output interface. Why? You know that when, for example, when we are using the ping command in IPv4. Maybe in some time, if we have connectivity, we receive some echo reply, and when we don't have connectivity, we receive, for example, request timeout, or maybe destination host unreachable. Here we can see a new comment, output interface. What is the output interface? Don't forget, because link local address is used on the, for example, one subnet, and it cannot use between, for example, subnets for checking for connectivity. R2 has two IPv6 address that is in the same range in the ETA00 and ETA01. You know that, for example, in IPv4 and also in IPv6, if you configure same range of IP address on two interfaces of router, you will receive a duplicate error message. For example, in IPv4, because you know the IPv4, in R1 we have ETH00 and then ETH01. Okay, you are configuring interface, for example, interface ETH00, IP address 192.168.11255.255.255.0, and then no shutdown, for example. Then configuring the ETH01 with the IP address in the same range. Interface ETH01, IP address 192.168, for example, 12255.255.255.0, no shutdown. If you configure this command, you should receive an error message, and the error message says you that you configured duplicate IP address. You know that all of the interfaces of a router should be configured with IP address in different range, okay? But for link local address, we don't have this limitation. Why? As you can see, we use this range of IPv6 address in the ETH00 and also in ETH01. Because we don't want to send any traffic from this link to the next link, from the link between router 1 and 2 to the link between router 2 and 3, we don't need the uniqueness, and we don't worry about the uniqueness of these IP addresses, because we don't want to send any traffic from this network to this network. Because of that, link local address, okay, link local address doesn't have the limitation of uniqueness in interface of routers. And as a result, we can have same range of, for example, link local address in both interface of a router, ETH00 and ETH01. Okay, this is the first thing. This is the first difference between the link local address and another IPv6 addresses. And this is unique to IPv6 only. In IPv4, we should configure for every IP address, we should configure a unique IPv4 address in interface of routers. But in IPv6, we don't have this limitation, only for IPv6 link local address. Now, we have a problem. What is the problem? Because R2's range in both of these interfaces is start from FE18, it cannot understand, it cannot find the outgoing interface when you use, for example, ping FE18. Okay, you give the R2 a ping, for example, an order that please send me an ICMP echo to FE18. Okay, R2 should find the destination interface, because FE18 can be used both in ETH00 and ETH01. It cannot find the outgoing interface. Because of that, it asks you, please give me the outgoing interface. Okay, and we should give to R2 the outgoing interface. The outgoing interface, my friend, is ETH or Ethernet 00. Okay, that's it. Now you can see the ping is okay. If you don't want to, R2 asks you the outgoing interface, you should give it with command. For example, ping, again ping, you should use a %. Look at here, this is a %, and then Ethernet 00. That's it. If you use % after IPv6 address and then outgoing interface, you don't need to, for example, answer the question of R2.